for every player before they actually do it.
Yeah, and
before Giannis won it last year.
Yeah. Same thing.
It's the same for every player.
Only player.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. As always, I am your host, Dylan Davis. You can catch me on Twitter at DylanJD98. And of course, joined today by my faithful co-host, Matt McGinty. Check him out on Twitter at Matt_McGinty as we stream live to you guys through DSM Media on our Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook account. So if you're new to the channel, head on over to at DSM_media on Twitter. The link tree is in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. Abe, what's going on, brother? Thanks for checking in. Intern Cole Gint will be joining us around the 5:45 mark to talk about the Final Four and the national championship game tonight with his North Carolina Tar Heels. Feeling like some fanboy talk is coming, but Carolina obviously well deserved. So we'll see what Cole has to say about his Tar Heels. And listen, man, I was going to start with the Sixers weekend. Obviously, they dropped 3 in a row prior to the weekend. They bounced back, take care of business against Charlotte on Saturday, and then travel to Cleveland, take care of the Cavs in a entertaining game last night. But first and foremost, we got not so breaking, but breaking news for the Philadelphia Eagles getting already shaking up the draft boards. So here's the full details. A lot of numbers, so stay with me for a second. Eagles are sending 16, 19, and number 194, which is a sixth rounder, to New Orleans in exchange for the Saints' number 18th pick, number 101, which is a third rounder, number 237, which is a seventh rounder, and a 2023 first and a 2024 second. So I would have loved to have seen 3 defensive players or 2 defensive players and a wide receiver drafted to help bolster this roster this year. However, Howie Roseman, I don't like to use this term when it comes to Howie because he's normally doing these things to clean up his own messes. But on this one, Howie Roseman fleeced the New Orleans Saints and got a massive haul back for basically the Saints to move up to number, to number 16 this season. And the Eagles get some insurance for next year in terms of if Jalen Hurts cannot prove to be the guy in 2023. A plus move by Howie from Abe Gint. Early thoughts on all the numbers I just read out.
Yeah, I think it's an overpay by the Saints is the statement to make. If you really break it down, it's almost like a 19-18 swap, and then it's like 16 for a 2022 third, a 2023 first, and a 2024 second. It's right. A lot. It's a great haul by Howie. You can go a lot of different directions with it. Obviously, a lot of people's first reactions is, quarterback, possibility of a quarterback pick next year, yada yada. With Jalen Hurts obviously being the starter going into this season, so or at least we think. So, great trade by the Eagles. You can go a million different routes with it. Howie won this one for sure.
Yeah, and real quick, Terry, my girl, I'll shout it out for you. South Carolina takes down UConn last night to bring home another chip. Terry, I'm not gonna lie to you, didn't watch. I've never been a women's NCAA tournament person, but congrats to the Gamecocks on taking down UConn. But yeah, man, this was an absolute fleecing by the Eagles and Howie. Like I said, I don't like to use that term a lot because I like the Carson Wentz trade comes to mind, how they got the first round pick for him and the Sam Bradford moved to Minnesota to get all that stuff, or the season after Carson was selected. Normally when Howie fleeces somebody, and don't get me wrong, the trades are good trades, they turn out to be, but that's because he's cleaning up his own messes. Like when he decides to sign Carson Wentz to be the franchise quarterback. Doesn't work out that way. Now he created the worst dead cap, history of the National Football League. He had to clean that up. This is a masterpiece. And I will say to Abe, I've been impressed with him as of late too. I think he had a stellar 2021 draft. I love the Devontae Smith pick then. I loved it. I still love it now. Landon Dickerson looks like he's going to have a future on this team. Milton Williams, so far, looks like he could have a future on this team. You don't know what Zach McPherson is yet, but a solid 2022 draft had some nice, or 2021 draft had some key free agent signings last year to make this team a playoff roster. I use that term loosely because of what the schedule was, but they make it to the playoffs. And now, so far this season, the Kaiser White signing and the Hassan Reddick signings have been great. Outside of that, haven't done much. But this trade's a lot. Now, I'll throw this to you here because you mentioned the quarterback. Albert Breer already tweeting out, Eagles fans, I suggest you get a look at Bryce Young or CJ Stroud because I can just see it. I'm envisioning it now. I just don't see a world, and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see a world where Jalen Hurts takes this year and just transform who he is as a passer, takes the Eagles back to the playoffs, beats teams, with his style, or if he can become a better passer, and proves that he should be here long term. I cannot see it in one more season happening, right? So I think quarterback is the play next year, dude. And I know Phil answered me back. So Phil, if you're watching, I got your message about Howie, using it loosely saying 2022, but I've seen other reports with Howie and Jeffrey. Are you behind Jalen Hurts? Are you behind Jalen? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, we are 100% behind Jalen. We believe yada, yada, yada. It's all lies. It's all lies. So I kind of feel bad for the kid at this point, dude. Like they're not giving him any more weapons offensively as of right now. The team is basically identical outside of a signing or two to last year, and they're leaving him out high and dry to go take their guy next year. And we'll see if that's the right decision.
It's not the farthest fetched thing to say for sure, right?
What?
That they're preparing for the future, and he's not a part of it.
Yeah, I really do think that's the case. Listen, I'm this trade. This is a good trade. I'm not going to use this to tear down what Jalen Hurts can or can't be this season. I'm just saying when you look at it, why else was this trade made, Gint? That's the bottom line. This trade, if they are 100% firmly behind Jalen Hurts for the future, not the future in 2022, the future of the Philadelphia Eagles, why would they move a first round draft pick to next year? It's insurance. It's what we've been saying they're going to do, and they went out and did it.
No, you're right. There's no way to beat around the bush. Now, obviously, if the kid comes in, lights it up, and heel turns, then we'll have a different conversation at the time. For now, it's not the case, and I don't think it will be the case.
Yeah. Interesting, though. Interesting. The first 10 minutes of the show completely got hijacked by Howie and the Eagles because of that move. And now draft day, it takes away from draft day a little bit. And I was looking forward to having my 3 first-round draft picks in the middle of this year's draft. And, shout out to Phil again, because I think he's right. I don't think Howie's done moving up or down this board. He's not going to move more to future years, but I could definitely see him turning pick number 18 that they are at now into like 25 or 26 for a team that's looking to move up. And, in the moment, it just takes away from what we were looking to acquire. Another thing is, Scotty made this point earlier, it helps the salary cap for this year as well, because it's 3 first-round picks are not cheap. So that would have been a big hit as well. They moved 1 to next season. They don't have to worry about that now in 2022. So if you had to grade the move, I think we're all in agreement here. A plus for the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman on this move. Just a shame that they couldn't get more help for Jalen Hurts. Now, all right, let's move on to the Philadelphia 76ers portion of today's show. Again, obviously the Sixers, after our last show, was that pre-Milwaukee or post-Milwaukee? I want to say pre. Really?
I don't know.
Right.
When did we go?
I'm forgetting here. I'm forgetting. That game was what, Wednesday night or Tuesday night? Tuesday. No, so we had a
Yeah, it
show
was
Wednesday.
post. Yeah, it was
It was
post.
post. Okay, but so at that point they had dropped 2 in a row, but you could live with it, right? Like the defending champs and the defending Western Conference champs that have 60+ wins on the season on the road. You could understand. You could see how they could lose those games, right? Then they go lose to Detroit Pistons in horrific fashion. And then they bounce back this weekend with a 144-point performance against the Charlotte Hornets. And then they take care of business in a close game last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers and sweep the season series 4-0 against Cleveland. Was this weekend a turn of event like this? Was this a flipping of the page for you here? Like, do you feel good about these 2 wins? I have a very weird feeling, like the energy right now. They won 2 games in a back-to-back, home and road. Really good, both playoff teams, right? Like good wins. But there still feels to be that, not negative energy, but that weird type of hesitancy right now with this team.
It's really tough to gauge because Harden still hasn't found a great footing or I shouldn't say he played pretty well in the Milwaukee game, but this weekend he didn't play that well in terms of shooting the ball. But every time you win a back-to-back, especially when one's at home and one's on the road, you got to travel at night. Even though they played pretty early Saturday, it's still tough. They found a way to win both, and they crushed Charlotte, so that always helps too in terms of a back-to-back. But there's always going to be this. I don't want to use the term negative stigma because when you win, a win's hard to get in the NBA, whether people want to admit it or not. And then now, if Harden struggles or Maxey struggles, people take it as, okay, well, the bench sucks, and if these guys can't play well, we're going to lose anyway. So I don't want to say they shouldn't be warranted, but there was I think you're right. There's like a weird aroma about these 2 wins. And I think the Detroit thing's kind of like withstanding with everyone because that loss was
someone stepped on 5 stink bugs in a room, in a basement with the door closed, and it's just we can't air it out right now. We need like the postseason, and that's another thing. Like last night, we knew they were making the playoffs, obviously, but last night they clinched a playoff spot. They don't even have to worry about the play-in, obviously. 4 games left. Toronto's next. That's it. That's a good competitive game.
Indiana, Toronto, Indiana.
Yeah. So 2 Indiana and Detroit again. It's just like, man, get me there. But what I want to say about like the energy and the teams that they beat over the weekend, because you said it, it's a back-to-back home and road against 2 good teams. Like that's what I need people to stop. Don't get me wrong. I came on here at the Detroit game. I was on Broad Street Bulls with George and Jeremy Friday night. And that left a bad taste in my mouth, man, because I sent out a tweet that I've like been this, it's okay, relax, don't overreact, come playoff time they'll be fine guy. And then that loss really like slapped me in the face, and it showed me more of the red flags, and this bench got killed again, and they didn't close out a game in the 4th quarter against a bad team. But then they come back and they beat these 2 teams, and I just need everyone to relax on this team might get bounced in the first round. Guys, they've beaten damn near every playoff caliber team to come their way outside of like the top 2 in the conferences. Like again, the Detroit loss, throw that away. That's an anomaly. Throw the ball up, throw it away. The Milwaukee loss by 2, defending champs. The Phoenix loss, defending Western Conference champs. Outside of that, they swept the Bulls. They've swept the Cavs. They've beat the Mavs. I don't know if they've won both against. I think they went 1-1 against the Mavs this year, obviously beating them just now with Harden. They just beat the Heat without Harden and Embiid. They beat the Grizzlies without Embiid. They've beaten Milwaukee. They've beaten Boston. Like, they're really good against good teams in this league. Like, they are. And it's just so much, it's just a bad taste. I don't know what gets it out right now for this fan base.
I agree. And but it's like we mentioned with the whole Miami thing. I was like, I wonder if the Heat fans reacted the same way Sixers fans would if they would have beat Philly without Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, what the city would have done, as opposed to vice versa. Losses just stick to everyone a little bit harder than wins do. And there's wins in there that you look back on and you're like, wow, that was a really good one, which that Miami one was a very, very good win. You look at the beginning of the year when they beat Atlanta. That was a really, really good win.
The Warriors.
Crazy at the end of the game, the Warriors game. There's games that stick out in terms of wins, but the losses will always stick out more. you can remember losses. Like I remember the last year when we lost to the Pistons when Embiid sat out, we lost by 25. Like losses just stick with you a little bit harder. That's how it'll be in the city. The only thing, like down the stretch here, obviously you look at seeding, you see who you want to play, yada yada. That's tough to care about because of how tight everything is everywhere right now. 1 through 4 is so tight. 7 through 10 is so tight. So anything can really fluctuate on where you're going to play, who you're going to play. They just got to like keep shoring up the rotation, try to get James into a rhythm. Joel's playing.
That's the next point I want to hit on as
Yeah,
well.
Joel's playing at the highest level there possibly is, and you got to find a way to get Maxey back into what he. I don't want to use the term what he was because he's still there. He's just not playing as well as he did at one point. So, but positives are Tobias is getting into a rhythm. It looks like he's playing much better. And then Embiid, like I said, Embiid's playing unbelievable. So those 4 need to be all clicking on all cylinders end the year. So you have 4 games, kind of share some things up. This bench, in my opinion, is a lost cause. It is what it is. You might get one good game out of a guy here and there, but for the time being, they need to be space minutes, and they are net negatives, in my opinion.
So this tweet by Jackson Lloyd NBA, this was on March 29th. So I believe this was after the Bucks loss. So 2 in a row before Pistons. I think my timing's right there. This was meant to be an MVP tweet, right? Because it's between Denver and Milwaukee and Philly. So I know what the tweet was made for. But my point about them beating good teams is record above teams above 500. That's before the 2 wins now, so it's even better. So at that time of the tweet, the Sixers were 23-21. The Bucks were 19-22, and the Nuggets were 16-24 against teams with a record above 500. Obviously, the Sixers just won 2 more. I know the Bucks have won 2 more as well since then, but you get my point. The Bucks are around 500 against those teams. The Sixers are now 25-21 against teams above 500, right? They also had the least games played against teams below 500 of those 3 teams. And just like, I get it. Losses stick with you more, but I want to know why it won't go away, because the wins, it's not making that feeling in the city right now go away. Everyone's still got this hesitant, we're probably a second round exit type of team. And I don't know, man. I can't get with it. Because it's not that I can't get with it, because like the fan and what's up?
Can't get behind what?
Like I can't get behind the thought process of it.
That they're just a second round exit?
Yeah. Because of
what farther or
yes, because I think they can go further. And now I get that's like whatever, it's the fan in me, but it's also I don't know. 2 losses against the previous 2 teams in the NBA Finals shouldn't just be like, oh, well, that's it.
I agree. But I also think the Ben game puts a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, too.
I get it.
I shouldn't call it the Ben game. The Nets game.
I get it.
My thing is this, and we've talked about it a couple times with, if those 4 guys don't play really well in a series against Milwaukee, in a series against Brooklyn, in a series against Miami, it's going to be tough to squeak wins because, again, what do you look at and say, oh, we have this? Like Miami looks at the bench, oh, Tyler Hero, perfect, insert. Like these guys just have a little bit more depth. But again, Philadelphia has James Harden and Joel Embiid, again, 2 of the 3 best players on the court almost at all times. So you can't just write them off in a playoff series. But this bench needs to drastically improve in a playoff series. They need to find a way to click. They need to find a way to get a rotation. You got to find the ghost of Danny Green to come out. You got to find productive minutes out of DeAndre Jordan.
Atlanta Hawks, Game 5, Shake Milton, or Game 4, Shake Milton.
Yeah. DeAndre Jordan needs to leave his feet for the first time.
Yeah, dude, he's a lost cause because to me, and I don't know what the coaching staff doesn't get. It's a complete lack of effort with him. Like you just said, he won't leave his feet defensively to grab a defensive rebound, to box out, to block the shot. He won't leave the floor.
He's cooked goods, it looks like, at least. But maybe we'll be able to flip a little bit of a switch. But I mean, that's why I think I think that's why there's this negative aroma around this team. Like even like you look at Brooklyn's bench and you see Cam Thomas and you see Patty Mills and you see Goran Dragic. It's like, wow, they can go get you 15 to 20 points on a given night, especially Patty Mills. And obviously Goran Dragic's a proven vet. It's the same problem every year. You look over there and you see Furk, you see Shake. It's the same culprits. And I understand everyone wants to see Paul Reed. He's not going to play Paul Reed. He's just not. Unless they get blown out in a game 1 and 2 of the playoff series, and DeAndre Jordan's did like X amount of bad.
I know.
Like the Paul Reed and Charles Bassey thing. I understand Charles Bassey had 50 and 70 the other night in the G League, but it's just not going to happen. And as much as maybe the Milwaukee series they'll give him a go because they really love the way he kind of stacks up athletically with Giannis and but he's not just going to randomly with 4 games left in the year be like, okay, let's try these guys, the youth. At least I don't think he is. I know he's
no. Like I can tell you, there is a -% chance that happens.
I know Doc's dumb. I just don't think he's dumb enough. What did we talk about with him? He sticks to his script. He's got it written down. And okay, Embiid needs to come out at 3:31 left in the third quarter.
He don't even do that, dude. Listen, I don't know what's changed. Joel Embiid plays almost the full 12 minutes of the first and third quarters. You wonder why they get their asses whipped to start the second and fourth quarters, because he's got to sit for the first 4 to 5 minutes because Doc runs his legs out of the gym by the time they get to that spot. The bench thing, man, it's going to be the story of the playoffs. I promise that. And my thing is, you mentioned, these guys can get you 15, whatever it is. It's not that I expect the Sixers bench to be good. It's not that I expect the 4 guys that get thrown out there.
The Phillies bullpen.
It's not even that. I don't even know if it's that in. Maybe they get 15, 16 points combined, whatever. You know what I need from you? Not to lose the bench points by 35. If you can't score, can you at least stop the opponent from scoring for a couple minutes? Yeah. It can't be 44-11 in bench points, guys.
When Ferk last night came off a screen, picked up his dribble, faked a pass, didn't know what to do, took a jump shot, hit back iron, went back to him to the corner, and he just launched another one. I said, oh my God, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose every single game for the rest of the season. Dude, he's so bad, man. He really is.
Just when you think he figured something out, bro, like he's hot.
He does that.
He does something like that, man. The bench is going to be the story of the postseason, I promise you. But you said with DeAndre Jordan, maybe, can he flip a switch? We know the answer to that. But the guy that needs to flip a switch, I can't get a reading on him again, so I'm going to defer to the coach in you right now. What you're seeing from him, James Harden. Some nights looks fantastic. You can go to the Milwaukee game, season high as a Sixer with what he scored, 32, 35 points. Shot great, knocked down 4 threes, right? Even last night, 21, 10, and 10, another triple-double. His fourth quarter numbers over the last week or two have been very bad. And the bottom line to me is, he's still not shooting the ball well. He's not shooting well from 3. That crossover, he's not quick enough right now on one-on-one matchups. And again, I think the last couple of games he was 4 of 13, 2 of 11, 4 of 16, just really bad shooting numbers. And my biggest fear with it right now, my biggest flaw with him not scoring is, when Joel's on the floor, that's fine. We know they run their offense through him. Maybe, James and other guys step in here and there. When Joel's off the floor, that's takeover time. That's when I need James Harden to be James Harden for those couple minutes, like old James Harden. And he hasn't been that. And he's not only not, scoring for them or shooting efficiently for them when Joel's off the floor, he's not even getting them in good sets. It's a lot of dribble the ball into the floor, dish it to Niang with 4 seconds on the shot clock violation. So what is it, dude? Because some nights he looks great. Other nights he looks slow and shoots 2 of 11.
Dude, George Niang gets them up too, man. Oh, quick trigger.
You talk about not shy, my guy.
dude, but Harden has to be saying, yo, I need you to do that. I need you.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since he's gotten here, it's been a little bit more whoa, you took that one?
It's also emphasized when Harden gets Matisse a clean look in the corner and Matisse pump fakes 95 times with it and then passes the ball back. George, I need you to do the opposite of that. So
don't do that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
what is it, dude? Because I can't point my finger to it. Because I can't sit here and say, oh, he's just he's just slower. He's not that guy. Because then in Milwaukee, I'm watching him win every one-on-one battle there is.
Yeah, you're right. And I don't mean to be this guy, but NBA guys take the night off when they're playing sometimes, man. Like cruise control.
Right. But, so okay, this is my question. This is where I need the confidence right now, Gint. Flipping the switch. Can it happen come postseason time for James Harden? Or what do you think it happens? Not can it happen?
Yeah, I think he's going to play really well in the playoffs. But again, he has to play really well. And there's a chance they don't win even if he plays really well. Him and Embiid can play really, really well, and there's still a chance his team doesn't win. And it sucks to say that because, I mean, man, if Tobias comes up short this offseason or this postseason and Maxey comes up short this postseason, they're not going to be able to beat the Milwaukees, the Brooklyns, the Miamis. Like they all need to play well for this team to win. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at another offseason of this fan base pointing their finger at one guy, and I think Tobias's bullseye is way too big at this point for it not to be him if they don't make the conference finals, if they get smoked in the second round, or even if they make conference finals and get smoked. It's like, okay, well, this team's clearly still not good enough. And you go into, what do you trade Tobias for? You trade him for depth. You trade him for another guy that's on a max contract. Like, what do you do?
His bullseye's the biggest one in terms of players. I think priority number one for this fan base right now is the Doc Rivers hates at an all-time high. But then in terms of on-court play, in terms of money, what the expectation is, it's Tobias. But again, it's a shame because right now, Tobias seems to be settling into his role. He looks good to me right now. Again, not max contract worthy, but we always knew that was the case. Yeah. He looks fine right now, and he's bought in on both ends. He has that quick trigger from three, like we haven't seen him having to catch and shoot before. He's shooting efficiently for the most part. Like he was really good against Charlotte, dude. I think he had 4 threes in the first half against Charlotte. So it's a shame because he's a nice third or fourth option to have next to these two if the other two are going. My thing is with Tyrese is that because obviously, when Joel's hot or even when he's not, Joel's getting a majority of the shots. Harden, even though some nights he doesn't take a lot of shots, I need him to take more shots, right? Then Tobias gets his. The question I guess we're having is, well, can all four play really good? Well, how can all four?
Oh, it's simple. It's this egotistical fan base that won't put their ego aside and admit the fact that Tyrese Maxey can't share the court with. I mean, he can. He's proven he's played well next to Harden, and he's going to play a lot of the minutes next to him. But one of these two guys need to come. I shouldn't even say that. Tyrese Maxey needs to come off the bench. Obviously, James Harden's never coming off the bench, but it just has to happen, especially when we get into Brooklyn, we get into Miami, and we get into Milwaukee, and they're just bigger teams. And the body of Danny Green, again, he hasn't looked great at all, but the body of Danny Green is much bigger. The body of Shake Milton's much bigger. And again, I'm not signing up for Shake to get put in the starting lineup, but it's not going to happen. It's so late in the season. He's going to stay in the starting lineup, but I think we're missing out on that. I think we're missing a lot of spark off the bench and everything like that.
At this point, I'm with you because, we saw the first 4 or 5 games when James got here and Max, he was averaging 25, 26, but then you saw the corpse of Tobias Harris on the floor next to those guys, right? And I don't think you're ever going to get either Maxey or Harris scoring 20+ without the other one scoring 8. When they're playing a majority of their minutes together. There's not enough time. There's not enough balls. There's not enough shots to go around for that. And when you want to talk about killing two birds with one stone, it is that move, because what would that do? Immediately give spark and life to a bench that's so short and so depleted and has such a lack of scoring. You need that. And forget the scoring, forget the defense. You could just feel, especially in the Wells Fargo Center, dude, the life gets sucked out of that place when 4 guys come in. Now, again, that's on Doc because he shouldn't be doing all that at one time. It shouldn't be James Harden with 4 bench players, as bad as his bench has been, but that's the reality of it. And I was there you can just feel it, dude. And that was in a big win. Like Joel Embiid could go off for 12 straight points. James Harden could hit a step back three. And next thing you know, the bench is in and it's quiet in there. They go on a run. The Boo Birds come out. Maxey
Ferk hits the side of the backboard.
Yeah, Ferk gets his shit sent into the 17th row with a weak right-handed layup in the paint. But Maxey would just bring a type of energy off the bench that they need. Dude, they don't have that guy. And him and Shake, I think, could work well together in the backcourt with shooters around them, like a Danny Green and like a George Niang with them at the same time. Maxey has proven that he can take over a game with the ball in his hands at times against good teams as well, like he did against the Heat and Memphis. So yeah, I'm with it. The problem is, we're not the head coach.
Yeah, Doc's not.
And I don't think, Doc's not with it. And, there could always be an overnight change where, let's say, a playoff series isn't going so well. Doc tries something out and, hey, something changed drastically. I just don't see it happening, especially not in the regular season. So I think it would take something like that. And I think it would take like a 2-0 series hole for him to be like, oh, wow, the bench is killing me. Maxey hasn't looked great. I need to switch something. And I would, you need to sit him down. It's not a demotion. It's I need you to be your best with these guys. Maxey's still going to close games with the other four, right? But it's just in between the second and third quarter, he's going to get more run with the bench unit than he would with the starters. And that's fine. And it doesn't even have to be 4 bench starters. Toby, Doc can figure out to have Toby out there with him, whatever he wants to do, dude. It's frustrating because it's like,
sucks.
Because it's like, it seems so simple, right? Like, or not even so simple that it would work. You can't test it out. You couldn't try it, dude. No one else on that coaching staff has said, Doc, maybe we should try this. They probably get, shut the F up. Like get back over on the side. But it does suck, dude. All right. We got a couple more minutes before we get Cole in here to switch over to the Final Four and the national championship game tonight. So another thing that sucks, game, is the most beloved athlete in the city right now is playing his ass off and has continued to dominate night in after night out and has somehow found his way out of the MVP conversation. This is absolutely nuts to me. It's nuts. If you look at his numbers,
it's a lost cause.
I know. He's not. No, I know he's not winning it.
I know, but it's a lost cause at the fact that why not? Like, why? What has he done? Like, did the process really make the NBA that sour to the point where this guy's going to be disrespected forever? He's going to get put on all NBA's second team again because Jokic is going to win MVP. Therefore, he's going to be on the first team because they only let one center on this.
Apparently, they changed that, but we'll see what they do this year.
Oh, that would be dope because he should be on first team, obviously. But dude, he just had what he finished with last 44 and 16.
Yes. And over the last 12 or 14 games, he's averaging over 35 and 13 on good shooting numbers. And he's down. And it's
one of the best defensive anchors in the NBA. Like, he does everything for this team. And
this is exactly. And forget, I hate recency bias should not play a role in MVP voting. It's an entire season. It's a marathon, not a final sprint, right? And I'm not saying, Giannis and Jokic aren't deserving. I think all three have deserving numbers and deserving resumes. But when you want to rank them 1, 2, and 3, this dude, I don't care. Call me a homer. He's number 1. Just take the word, Gint. Most valuable. I'm not saying Giannis isn't the most valuable on his team. Not saying Jokic isn't the most valuable on his team. But if you removed all 3 of those dudes from their respective teams right now, they didn't play, who would be the worst of those 3 teams? I mean, now with James Harden, you could argue
I was going to say
the Nuggets are worse.
But it's not.
That's
never been how the award has been given either. And so it's sucks for there's no precedent for it. Like, it's been all over the place. Like the year Russell Westbrook averaged a triple double, he won it. But then the year Steph won it unanimously, it was basically because he was the best player on the team that won 73 games. It's such a hard conversation to have. It really is, because Embiid just gets no love. No love.
Well, it also just amazes me. And don't get me wrong, it's credit to Jokic. 47 wins. Do we have the same right? No, we're half a game or one game better than Denver. I get it. Or a game and a half better than Denver. But like, I get we're in the 4 seed now, but at times Joel Embiid has had, even pre-James Harden, has had this lifeless, drama-filled team with the same bench unit. These are the same. There was nothing else. Like, yeah, we have James Harden now, but this was the same bench unit, right? With an Andre Drummond at the time that he was carrying to the 1 through 3 seed all year long. Jokic and the Nuggets, they're nice. I get it. They've been floating around like the 5 to 7 seed. So what? He gets credit for getting his team in outside of the play-in? Like, I don't understand. Even if, like, just watch the game. I beg of you. And like these national guys, I don't understand who gets credited to vote, because if you take the Nuggets game, I get the Sixers lost the matchup head to head. Joel whooped his ass. Like, whooped his freaking ass, dude. I was in person to see it. Whooped him. The bench got outscored 4. That was the game. It was like 45 to 11.
Marcus Cousins was like unbelievable.
Bones Highland hit
Bones.
4 or 5 threes in the clutch. Okay.
Yeah.
But that takes away Joel's MVP case. Are you joking, dude? Like, these are accredited analysts and experts and basketball minds that get paid to do this. And you're going to be lazy with it?
The recent little surge Drew Hanlon has had on Twitter has been really good.
Yeah.
Kind of breaking down what Jokic gets a lot of love for, like his assists. He was breaking down how they're all like a lot of them are dribble handoffs, like all this stuff. It's been good, and it's going to be a thing for a while. And I'm glad those two are like cordial about it between Embiid and Jokic. They talk apparently. As long as the big guy wins it, they're fine with it, yada yada. But it's just such an outplayed act, man. It really is. He's never going to get the love. He's never gotten the love since he's joined the league for any of these type of awards. So hopefully he makes a statement and we get to the conference finals and he looks as good as he is and they can hold the MVP trophy. That's fine. Well, he's got bigger fish to fry.
It really is a damn shame. Obviously, I think he holds it as well. He'd rather, obviously, winning. He'll take the ring over the MVP, and we will as well. But like, it's a shame, because if not now, there's never going to be a time. There's never going to be another season where you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to have another season as the scoring leader with these numbers. Pre-James, like now, next year, let's say, knock on wood, hopefully James Harden is still a Sixer. He signs the extension, right? That's a full season with James Harden by his hip, not the work he did pre-trade by himself, carrying this team. If this wasn't enough, if this resume isn't enough, it's never going to be. And the poor dude's never going to get that recognition. And it's really hard to watch. I'm pretty sure he's back in the lead after last night for a scoring champ. So, hey, dude, go out there, continue to drop 35 a night over the last 4 or 5, and win yourself the scoring title as a 7'1" big man, okay? Do that for yourself, brother, and let's roll. That's another thing. Do you realize if they win the next 4, which they very well could, obviously I know Toronto's a tough matchup, but they could very well win these 4 games and finish the year on a 6-0 run. I know it's not 17 or 16, whatever it was a couple years ago. 6-0 is pretty nice heading into the postseason. No,
it definitely is, and there's, like you said, good chance they do, especially if they start to figure a couple things out. Tobias is figuring it out. We need James to just figure out, and Tyrese to just kind of get back to what he was doing.
All right, man. All right, Gint. Good talking to you, brother. Exit Matt McGinty and bring in intern Cole. What's going on?
How you doing, Dylan?
I'm good, bro. We were just chopping it up about the MVP race between Joel Embiid. How a guy who can average over 35 a night over the last 12 or so games, and that gets him out of the MVP race somehow. So before we get to your Tar Heels and the Final Four, what are your thoughts on the MVP race right now?
I definitely think it's Embiid, but I'm kind of at the point where I've just accepted the fact that it's
Me
not going
too.
to be him. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue it. I feel like Joel's not as worried about an MVP as he is winning a championship.
No.
So, yeah, do I feel like he's snubbed? Yeah. And I was watching a little bit, and I saw you and Gint talk about what was it? How there's only one center for the first team All NBA. I don't think that's a thing anymore. I for damn sure hope it's not. Excuse me, but we'll see. I mean, there's nothing. I've just, like I said, I've accepted the fact that it's probably not going to be Joel.
No, I'm with you. And 80% of our Twitter poll for today's show says that Embiid should be the MVP. Giannis in second at 15%, and Jokic finishes it off with 5%.
Playing devil's advocate here, 90% of our followers are Philly fans, so
that's true.
That's the only like playing devil's advocate. But even outside of it, I
would say when it comes to the season that he's having, because I get on here and I can argue for Joel Embiid, and I'm a huge Sixers fan, right? So you can Homer, right? Just watch the game, and it's pretty that obvious. And what I said to Gint before he got off is, it's just such a shame, because if it's not now, he's never going to get that award. If it's not this resume, if it's not this season, dude, think about it. If James Harden signs the extension next year, right? Yeah. Even if Joel Embiid puts up these numbers, which is he's not going to, I highly doubt he's going to be the scoring champ again, because he's 4 games away from being the scoring champ, right? Yeah. Highly doubt he puts up these numbers with this record, with James Harden at his hip, and he gets recognized as as an MVP. If it wasn't this year with the Ben drama, pre-Harden trade, having them at the 1 seed, right around the trade deadline, and putting up these numbers, it's never going to happen. And that's the biggest travesty of this whole thing, because Jokic is going to get it back-to-back years. And if you just watch.
Listen, and also, I don't want to sit here and say Jokic doesn't deserve it. He just doesn't deserve it as much as Embiid.
Right. Giannis all 3 resumes are deserving of this award, but the job is to rank them, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're ranking them, which one's most deserving? He's the resume you have to go with. All right, let's move into why intern Cole is on the show right now. Go ahead, go ahead, cheer for a second. We'll get going.
I cannot wait, Dylan. I think I shit my pants 3 times today. I'm feeling every emotion.
What does it mean to you to be here? Because I've seen some of your tweets, I've seen some of your messages in the chat. What's it mean as a Tar Heel fan to be here as an 8 seed?
Listen, it means a whole hell of a lot. Like, 2017 felt so good because of what happened in 2016. And a perfect storm would have been North Carolina versus Nova. But I think that what this just showed me was the greatness of not only the program, but just the ability for this team after everything they went through this year. First-year head coach. You got your ass whooped in the first round of the playoffs last year, the tournament last year. We started off the season rough. We lost by 25 to Duke. We lost by 25 to Wake Forest the very next game. And basically, they've been on just absolute domination since then. And heading into that Duke game, I felt there's something that told me that this team could do something special. And I mean, you guys know, I've been saying it all along. North Carolina can win the title. North Carolina can get there. And we all know, when I first started saying that, you guys are like, all right, this kid's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I didn't think they'd be here. I'll tell you that to your face.
And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't sitting here. I wasn't sitting here. They weren't I would be lying to you if I said from an analytical standpoint, I picked North Carolina. But if you look at a TikTok I made right before the tournament started, if you read the chats, if you look at my Twitter, I knew this team was going to go on a run. And just the way they did it, you played Baylor, you beat them. The defending national champions. You went in there and you beat a Final Four team from last year in a game where you were behind, and another one of the all-time great programs in UCLA. You broke America's heart by beating St. Peter's. And then you go in and you have a chance to defeat Coach K in his final game and earn your right to the national title after everything that happened, and you do it. And just the way they did it, this team fought through so much this year. And I just can't, like, words don't describe necessarily what it means. So I would say, I think the biggest thing for me is I just enjoyed the ride. And this is a beautiful, no matter what they win or lose tonight, I've accepted the fact, whatever emotion I feel, the best part about being a sports fan. The best part about being a sports fan. It's whether, even when you're sad, even when they lost to Villanova 6 years ago, or if it's the Eagles and Alshon Jeffrey dropping it against the Saints, and it's Kawhi hitting the buzzer beater against the Raptors. I've just learned that without those emotions, you don't get to feel the great emotions of when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, when the Sixers at some point win an NBA title. So I just can't wait. And obviously, I'm going to be extremely upset if they win or if they lose. Sorry. I mean, I'm going to cry either way, but I'm going to be extremely upset if they lose. But I've accepted the fact that I just have to realize that that is all a part of being a sports fan and what makes being a diehard sports fan so great.
That's awesome too. Because listen, I'm not a Tar Heel fan. Actually, I grew up. Oh, really? My uncle's a Tar Heel fan, and my dad is a Duke fan. So I grew up. I'm a Villanova fan. I always have been. But when I was younger, I rooted for Duke. I still like Duke. I just don't like root for Duke. Like, I don't need to root for Duke anymore. Because I've been all in with Nova since, I got over the age of liking multiple teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or rooting for multiple teams.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's why I, have always wanted to do this and dissect sports and talk about sports all the time, because sports they're real, dude. Like, they're pure. They're there no matter what, right? They're there through the good times, the bad times, the worst times, the great time. Like, they're just always there for you no matter what. And that point you just made, it's something I've never taken into account, but yeah, you have to feel Kawhi Leonard ripping your heart out of your chest in a game 7 with 2 seconds left, to feel the excitement of a, Sixers championship run, if we're to get there, right? You have to feel, the drop, or all the bad seasons for the Eagles to enjoy the Super Bowl at the capacity we could. Now, I'd appreciate a little bit more winning. Like I feel like as a Philly fan, we have a lot more losing than we do winning right now. So I'd like the averages to come a little bit more even here. But your point's still spot on.
And that's the thing about the Chris Jenkins shot that people never realize is, am I going to probably hear jokes about my entire life? Absolutely. But all in all, like, it made me fall in love with North Carolina even more.
Yeah, man. I see Scotty and Kata talking about free throws. Scotty, fill me in. What are they talking about with free throws? They're not removing free throws or in the playoffs. I don't know.
I think they're saying that people make it seem like Embiid only scores.
I know that's what the Jokic fans would like to tell you.
Yeah.
But that's pretty funny. All right, dude. So let's get into tonight. Your underdogs again. Kansas obviously coming off a impressive win over Villanova, had control of that game for 100% of it. Nova never led in that game against Kansas on Saturday night. Kansas looks really good at the right time, but then again, UNC does as well. Before I get to your predictions and thoughts on Kansas, are you worried at all that you guys just played your national championship? Are you worried that the energy, the emotion, everything was spent, like that was your Super Bowl last game, beating Duke, Coach K's last game, and not the actual national championship?
No, because if they were playing to beat Duke, if they weren't playing to win a national championship, they would have lost to Baylor in the second round. The way that team fought in that game to hold off that lead, even though they lost Manic and Baycott, or Manic and Love, is what made me truly realize that this team has championship potential. But am I worried that Kansas is going to play a better game than us? Absolutely. Kansas has been one of the best teams in the country all year. My thing with North Carolina all year has been North Carolina can beat any team in the country any night. I think North Carolina can go in there and beat any team in the country. But I also think they can lose to any solid team in the country. And Kansas is more than a solid team. So, but I feel like I feel like the attitude of North Carolina and the way the season went, I don't think if they struggled as much in this season, if they would have been like a 4 or a 3 seed, they would have won a lot more games, especially against teams they should beat. I don't think they would have a shot at winning the title. I think it was the fact that they were an 8 seed. So I think the attitude they go into And the way Baycott, even about his injury, this is the biggest game in college basketball. You think I'm going to miss it? No. So I don't think North Carolina played their national championship. But do I think Kansas can go out there and play better than North Carolina? Absolutely.
All right, so let's get to that. What are your thoughts on tonight's matchup?
Where
does North Carolina have to attack if they're going to be successful?
My thoughts is the same thing I said heading into the Final Four, probably heading into the Sweet 16 too. Nobody has a better starting five than North Carolina. 1 through 5, North Carolina has the best starting five. But Kansas had the best team, including the bench. So North Carolina, it's the same keys to success I have said every single game the entire year. Hit your threes, stay out of foul trouble. They hit their threes, they stay out of foul trouble, they beat Duke. They did that against St. Peter's, they beat them. They did it against UCLA, they beat them. They did it against Baylor, and thank God they were on fire in the first half, because if they weren't, once they got into foul trouble, they would have lost. But they almost blew that game because of it. So if they hit their threes, stay out of foul trouble, I think they will win this game.
It's interesting, man, because as you know, I'm not going to lie, I didn't sit here and watch a lot of Kansas Jayhawk basketball all season long in the regular season. But there's one thing I know about them throughout this tourney is they live in the paint. They're a physical team. They like to get in the paint and score a majority of their points from there. They shot the hell out of the ball against Villanova. At one point in the first half, they were 7 of 10 or 8 of 11 from 3. They shot the hell out of it, and that's why they put Nova away so early. They couldn't miss.
No,
it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight, because I don't think Kansas can put on a repeat performance from 3. I mean, so can Baycott and the big fellas for UNC keep Kansas out of the paint? And if UNC can win the 3-point battle, I'll give you guys a chance.
You know, that was what won them the game against Duke, was they hit their threes and Baycott won the big man battle. They need to keep doing the same thing. Baycott struggled in the first half. Caleb Love struggled in the first half, but somebody else stepped up. RJ Davis stepped up. Baycott struggled in the first half, but he didn't have a lot of his shots, but he got rebounds and he helped get the Duke bigs in foul trouble. And that was a huge reason why North Carolina won that game. Mark Williams doesn't miss free throws like that, but Mark Williams spent 70% of that game on the bench because he got 3 fouls in the first half, because Baycott is, in my opinion, outside of maybe Timmy or Holmgren or maybe a couple other guys, he's a top 5 big man in the country. So I think that Baycott's going to be another huge factor. What's going on with the ankle? Because I know he's playing, but how beat up is it going to be? Is he going to be able to put up – if he puts up another 20-rebound game, I don't see how we lose. Because I'm telling you, maybe Caleb Love doesn't have a great night. Maybe RJ Davis doesn't have a great night. Maybe Brady Mannix, but one of those guys is going to have a great night. They didn't come all this way. They didn't get to the national championship just to pack it in.
All right, bro. So is your money going on UNC? I know that 75-cent bet slip might be getting placed tonight.
Listen, no, it was a lot more. It was $7.
Oh,
I pulled up. I have a 64-cent bet slip on them to win the national title, which I took, I think, right before the Sweet 16. But I think I took North Carolina money line twice, North Carolina +4 once, and then them to win the national title. So we shall see.
Look at you, dude. Going heavy hitting tonight.
Yes,
for the national championship. Well, my dude, I guess I wish you luck. Who do you
have winning?
I've Kansas.
Okay. All right.
Kansas winning. I'll bring all the disrespect for you so that you can feel even better if UNC can win. This was like the one game. This was the matchup in the Final Four that I didn't want to see. Obviously, I wish Nova would have been the team to come out of that side of the bracket.
I wish they would have been too. You know how awesome it would have been
to
play Nova?
Not gonna lie, I would have preferred Duke to win over North Carolina.
If you were scared to play us, just say it.
That's fine. But like this game, I'm really not. I'm gonna watch, but I don't know if it'll be more like white noise to me than a normal national championship would be. Maybe it'll be a great game. It could. I
think it will be a great game, and I think the more entertaining part might be my social medias tonight.
Keep it PG. Keep it PG.
If you want to see a grown man cry, or a 19-year-old grown man, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get that
make sure you go to my Instagram, and also I will be live on DSM's TikTok at 8 p.m. tonight. If you want to ask me any questions, I haven't really been able to talk to you guys really one-on-one yet, so I'm going to do that, and we'll also talk all things Philly sports and North Carolina, obviously.
Yeah, man. All right. Exciting time, especially for you. We got the national championship tonight. It's opening day week. The Phillies will opening day for the MLB's on Thursday. Phillies opening day will be this Friday. Sixers last 4 games before they try to make a championship run in the postseason. And the Eagles in the NFL draft coming up. Eagles just made a major trade to switch up the draft board in this year's draft with the New Orleans Saints. But that is going to wrap up this Monday edition of the Phaithful Fanatics Show. Guys, you can always check us out right here on DSM Media on our Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook channel. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button at DSM_media. The link tree is in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. Check Cole out on Twitter at Cole_Tomp. You can check me out on Twitter at DylanJD98. Have a great night. For every player before they actually do.
Yeah.
Before Giannis won it last